Hey everyone, we are starting proportional relationships today, and I think you'll think this topic is pretty easy if you thought yesterday's was. Um, let's just jump right in because we have quite a bit of notes to cover today. So we're going to start with proportional versus non-proportional. Okay, so let's start. If the ratios or rates of two quantities are equal, then the quantities are proportional. Okay, if the ratios or rates of two quantities are not equal, then the quantities are non-proportional. Okay, so let's go ahead and give you a real life example of proportional versus non-proportional. Okay, so it says Jasmine is baking cookies and mini cupcakes for a competition. The tables below show the number of cups of sugar she has used for each dessert after every 3 dozen made. Complete each table and determine the type of relationship. Okay, so let's go see if we can figure this out. So for the cookies, we have cups of sugar per dozen. Okay, so I'm going to get out my calculator here. I think that will be helpful. Oh, I don't need that big. All right, so for the cookies, we have cups of sugar per dozen. That's y divided by x, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. I didn't need the calculator for that one. But if I'm doing y divided by x for the next batch, right, I have 22 divided by 6. 22 divided by 6 is 3.6 repeating. 36 divided by 9 is 4. And 45 divided by 12, 3.75. Okay. How about for the mini cupcakes? Same thing here. We have y divided by x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 18 divided by 6, 3. 27 divided by 9, and 36 divided by 12. All right. So what do you guys think about this? If you had to guess which one was proportional, do you think it would be the cookies or the cupcakes? Well, hopefully you thought the cupcakes, right? Because the rate is the same all the way through. So let's see. The sugar used in the cookies is non-proportional to the number of dozen baked. Non-proportional to the number of dozen baked because why? Because the rate of the sugar per dozen is not equal. Okay, and the sugar used in the mini cupcakes is proportional because the rate is equal. Proportional, the rate of sugar per dozen is equal. Okay, so hopefully you thought that was easy. All right, more practice. I think I'll do evens and you guys can do the odds. So you guys are going to do all the problems that I skip and make sure you do them because you might have a notebook check in your future. Okay, so number 2, hours of snow. If I do y divided by x, right? 3.5 divided by 1 is 3.5. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so I'm already not proportional, right? I am comparing these numbers, and I could go ahead and do all of them. 8.5 divided by 3 2.83, and 4 divided by 12 is 3. Right, so all of these numbers, well, with the exception of this and this, are not equal, so it's not proportional. Okay, so you guys are doing odd. All right, 4 divided by 5, cost per pound of fudge. So 4 divided by 5, 0.8. 480 divided by 6, I think that's also 0.8, but let's go ahead and check. 4.80 divided by 6, 0.8. 560 divided by 7, 0.8. And finally, 640 divided by 8, which I know that one's going to be 0.8 as well. I want to warn you that on your FSA, it will ask you to find if it's proportional, and it will always be one of the last ones, 7 or 8, that will be not proportional. So I do recommend that you do all the work through. Okay, so this one is proportional. I should just put a P. All right, and number 6, cups of sugar per lemons. 1.5 divided by 3. So 1.5 divided by 3. 0.5, that's what I thought, 1/2. 2 divided by 4, that's also 1/2. 2.5 divided by 5, so 2.5 divided by 5, 0.5. 3 divided by 6 is also a half. This one is proportional. Okay, so let's practice completing tables. So now we are saying that the relationship is proportional, right? If the following tables represent a proportional relationship, complete the table. A car travels 52 miles each hour. So in 1 hour, 52 miles. 2 hours, well, that's 104. 5 hours, 52 times 5, 260. And 52 times 8, 416. Okay. Number 10. An umbrella company can make 75 umbrellas a day. Complete the chart, then determine how many umbrellas they make in 2 weeks. Okay. So we have 2 steps here. 75 umbrellas a day. So in 2 days, it's 75 times 2, which is 150. In 4 days, 300. In 6 days, well, that's 300 plus 150 is 450. In 8 days, 600. Okay, so how many umbrellas can you make in 2 weeks? So we're just going to multiply 75 by how many days are in 2 weeks? 14. And 75 times 14, 1,050 umbrellas. Okay, so the next page is super easy. I think it's something that you already know. We are reviewing proportions, and we have been doing this in bell work. A proportion is an equation that states that 2 ratios are equal. To determine whether a pair of ratios forms a proportion, check their cross products. Then, all right, so check their cross products. If A over B equals C over D, then AD equals BC. A times D equals B times C, right? That's the cross products. That's what we're checking. All right, so we're seeing if this is true. We're setting them equal to each other. 7 over 12 equals 12 over 36. Sorry, 21 over 36. And we're just checking to see if their cross products are equal. So we're going to do 7 times 36 equals 12 times 21. Okay. 7 times 36 is 252. 12 times 21, 252. Okay, so we've checked their cross product. Are they equal? Yes, so the pair of ratios forms a proportion. So I'm just going to write yes. Okay, so what is number 3? 3/5 and 1.5 over 2.5. So I'll do 3 times 2.5 equals 5 times 1.5. 3 times 2.5, 7.5. And 5 times, 1.5, 7.5. So this one's also yes. Okay, and you guys can check 2 and 4. Okay, so to solve proportions, you will cross multiply to create a one-step equation. Follow the steps below to solve the given proportion. So we're solving for x, and we have x over 6 equals 35 over 14. So use the cross products property to set up an equation. So we have 14 times x equals 6 times 35. So 14 times x equals 6 times 35. Okay, and what is 6 times 35? 6 times 35 is 210. 14x equals 210. Then divide to solve the equation. So we'll divide by 14 on both sides. And you get x equals 210 divided by 14, 15. And can you check your answer? Of course. Do I want to? No. 15 over 6 equals 35 over 14. All right, well, let's just go ahead and do this the easy way. 15 divided by 6 is 2.5. Is 35 divided by 14 also 2.5? I certainly hope so. 2.5 equals 2.5? Yes. Okay, I don't actually require that you check. So I'm going to do 9 and 11, and the only ones I want you to do are 10 and 12. I think it's kind of ridiculous to ask for you to keep doing these. Number 9, I have m times 18, 18m equals 3 times 1, 26. 378. And then the next step is to divide both sides by 18. And m equals 378 divided by 18, 21. Okay, so number 11 is similar. I have 6 times c equals 9 times 10. So, I have 6 times c is 6c. 9 times 10 is 90. Divide both sides by 6. And c equals 15. Let me just double check. 90 divided by 6. Okay. All right, so you're doing 10 and 12. Those are the only ones you have to do for that section. How about if you're given tables? Okay, so it's the same thing. If the values in the table represent a proportional relationship, find the missing value. So we do the same thing. We'll just pretend it's the division right here, right? And there's an equal sign between them. So what is 15 times 20? Well, 15 times 2 is 30. So 15 times 20 is 300. equals 6x. And we divide both sides by 6. And 300 divided by 6 is 50. X equals 50. Okay. Number 15. Car 1, m miles. Car 2, 135 miles. Okay, they're talking about miles per hour. So let's see. We have m times 2.5 equals 1.5 times 135. 1.5 times 135. 202.5. We divide both sides by 2.5. Divided by 2.5. M equals 81. Okay, so go ahead and do 14 and 16, and then we can move on. All right. Now for the real challenge. The word problems. I know it's your favorite. So, proportions can be used to solve word problems in which there is a constant rate. It is very important to stay constant when setting up your proportion. The units must match on each side of the equal sign. Which of the following equations is a valid proportion? Okay, so you have to stay consistent, and I've been telling you guys that. Which one of these looks like it's staying consistent? So if you look at the first example, the one on the left, it goes miles over hour equals hours over miles, right? So that one's not consistent because it's switching, right? The one that's consistent, the one that's valid, is the one that stays miles over hours on both sides of the sign, equal sign. So, helpful hint, set up a key when writing proportions to make sure the units stay consistent. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Solve each word problem using a proportion. Round to the nearest tenth or cent when necessary. Okay, so the ratio of hot dogs to hamburgers sold at a baseball stadium is 8-3. Okay, so I'm going to do hot dogs to hamburgers. So I'll put HG to H. Hot dogs to hamburgers is 8-3. 8-3. If 272 hot dogs are sold, how many hamburgers are sold? Okay, so 272 hot dogs. Well, remember, we have to stay consistent. So hot dogs is in the numerator, so I'll put my 272 in the numerator and X in the denominator. Okay, and I think you know what to do from here. We do 272 times 3 equals 8x. 8x equals 272 times 3, 816. And then we divide both sides by 8. Divided by 8. X equals 102. And it should seem like a reasonable answer. So 102 hamburgers. Okay, and that does seem reasonable. All right. Malaya bought 32 pieces of candy for $16. The next day she returns to buy more candy with $4. How many pieces can she buy? So let's do candy per dollar. 32 per 16 equals, all right, well, the next day she returns with $4. So that 4 is a dollar amount, so it goes in the denominator. X goes in the numerator. So let's go ahead and do it. 32 times 4 divided by 16. X equals 8. Okay, number 5. Dave is moving to a new house 5 kilometers away from his old house. If 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers, how many miles are between the two houses? Okay, so let's do, doesn't matter if we do kilometers per mile or miles per kilometer. Let's do miles per kilometer. So 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. And how far is this house away? 5 kilometers away. So that 5 goes in the denominator. How many miles is that? So we know we drew in 1 times 5 and then divided by 1.6. 5 divided by 1.6 is 3.125. 3.125, well, it said to round to the 10th. So 3.1 miles. All right. Number 7. If 14 children made 84 bracelets, how many children would it take to make 192 bracelets? So let's do children per bracelet. 14 children, 82 bracelets. How many children would it take for 192 bracelets? 14 times 192 divided by 82. Whoa, I don't think that's right. Can't have a fraction of a person, can we? So 14 times 192, 2,688, divided by 84. Oh, that's why. Because it does say 84, not 82, which is a better answer, right? 32 children. Number 9. Jason spends 18 hours over 3 weeks practicing karate. How many hours does he practice in 7 weeks? Let's do hours per week. 18 hours, 3 weeks. How many hours does he practice in 7 weeks? 18 times 7 divided by 3. 42 hours. Nick walked 3/4 of a mile in 12 minutes. Okay, so 3/4 of a mile. Let's do miles per minute. 3/4 of a mile is 0.75. And if you're unsure about that, you can always just do 3 divided by 4. So 0.75 of a mile in 12 minutes. How long would it take him to walk 3 miles at this pace? So how many minutes? 12 times 3. 12 times 3 divided by 0.75. So x equals 48 minutes. Not bad. The Phillips family is slowly filling their pool. It takes 2 hours for 60 gallons of water to be pumped into the pool. How many gallons will be pumped after 3 days? Okay, so let's see. We have 2 hours, so let's do hours per gallon. 2 hours, 60 gallons. How many gallons? Oh, gallons is in the denominator. How many hours are in 3 days? Well, how many hours are in 1 day? 24. So 24 times 3 is 72. Okay, so we have 72 times 60. 72 times 60 divided by 2. 2,160 gallons. Okay, last one. If the ratio of green to yellow candies is 2 to 5, so let's do green to yellow. 2 to 5. If there's 32 green candies, how many green and yellow candies are there altogether? All right, well, first we got to figure out how many yellow there are, right? So let's go ahead and figure out what x is. 32 times 5 divided by 2. So x equals 80. All right, so this is the number of yellow, right? This is the number of green. So how many are all together? Well, what is 32 plus 80, right? There is 112 candies total. Okay, so you guys have quite a bit of work to do. I'd like you to do all the evens on this page. And good luck. I don't have a problem if you want to work together, right? Just make sure that you're showing some work. All right? And I hope you have a great rest of your class and a great day. Bye.